Hi, my name is James Shepard, and today I'm going to talk to you about increasing your closing percentage with 3 option selling. Increasing your closing percentage with 3 option selling. Now you might say, James, what is 3 option selling? I'm about to tell you. 3 option selling is an incredibly important strategy, and it's one that so few salespeople use. In fact, I would go so far as to say that of the salespeople that I've been out with that are like newer salespeople, I was just at a company a week ago, 2 weeks ago, role-playing with a bunch of salespeople, some were newer. The biggest mistake that I hear them make is not using 3 option selling. And so I want to explain it to you today. It's actually an extremely simple concept. The hard part is actually being creative enough to figure out the 3 options for what you're selling. But 3 option selling is really very simple. There's a common thing here when you're selling. When you're selling, you do not want to get into the land of yes or no, okay? Terrible salespeople and below average salespeople, they sell using yes or no. Do you want to buy my product? Yes or no. Are you interested, Mr. Jones? Yes or no. Do you need this service, Mr. Jones? Yes or no. Those are yes or no questions, and that whole idea of yes or no sales, that's for below average and for terrible salespeople. Professional salespeople, they sell in the world of yes, yes, or yes. Yes, yes, or yes. That's 3 option selling, okay? So let me explain what I mean by that. Yes, yes, or yes means I'm going to give my prospect 3 possible choices from our discussion today. They can either tell me yes, or they can tell me yes, or they can tell me yes. Those are 3 really good options. So how do we do this? Well, what you have to do is, first of all, you have to decide, what do you really want people to buy? In other words, what do you feel is the right value proposition for the vast majority of the customers you're going to talk to? So somewhere around 60 to 75% of the people you talk to, you should be trying to sell them X, whatever it is. That is your middle option. Now, for most salespeople, that's the only option that they pitch. For you as a sales professional, that's your middle option. So you say, okay, I'm going to give them this option here, which is going to be, whatever that might be. Maybe it's, maybe you're selling merchant services and you have some kind of a tablet point of sale system that's like a free tablet point of sale, and whatever. It's an inexpensive solution. You feel like it fits well with your market because you're going after these small mom and pop shops or whatever. So you have your middle solution. That's what you really want the majority of people to purchase or to buy from you. Okay, but you don't stop there. The next thing that you do is you then go to the high side. And you say, okay, well, some people that I talk with, they're actually going to want something more than that. So you need another option up high. Maybe that high option is like Clover point of sale. That's a really good system that's high end. Maybe it's NCR Silver, which is more of a robust tablet point of sale system. Whatever it is, but you've got your high side. Like this is the solution over here that's for the people that really want something higher. Then you also then go to the low side. You say, okay, well, what if I can't even get them on the main option that I want? Because, you got to look, what's the main barrier, right? Is it too expensive? Maybe there's not enough savings. I don't know what it is, but you look at that middle solution. What's the main objection and the reason that you can't even get them to do that, let alone the higher one? Whatever that is, you compensate for that with a lower one, right? So maybe this is your free terminal placement, month-to-month agreement, 40 basis points and 8 cents, whatever it is for merchant services or whatever you're selling. You have this lower option, which is basically like so, good that everybody should at least do that, right? So now when you're out selling, that is how you present it. You present these 3 options to them. So you walk in, you're doing your presentation, you're talking about the value of that middle one. But then you're going to notice one of 2 things is going to happen. Either number 1, they're not going to be very impressed with that middle option, right? So you're going to say, now, we have 3 options for you today. We have this option here, which is the big option. Then we have the middle option. Then we have the lower one. And so the idea in selling is that if you start higher, just like negotiating in general, right? If I'm negotiating with somebody about a car and I want to buy this car from them and they're asking $5,000, they know that I'm probably going to offer them $3,500 or $4,000. So if they really want $5,000 for the car, they'd be smart to advertise it at $6,000, right? Because I'm probably going to come in and say, I'll give you $4,500, and then they can say, well, how about $5,000? And so we settle somewhere in the middle. That's how negotiations usually go. They settle in the middle. So what you do in sales when you go in, you talk about middle option is like a hooked introduction, but then when you actually go to close the deal, that is when you need the 3 options. So when you go to close the deal, you say, now, Mr. Jones, I know I talked a lot about this, ShopKeep point of sale or whatever, but what I really want to talk to you about today is our 3 options. You tell me what you think works best for you and your needs. Now, first of all, we have Clover, and you go through the whole Clover pitch. Talk about Clover a little bit. You can tell their body language, even over the phone. You can hear the tone of their voice, what the words that they're using. Are they interested in that? If not, say, well, then I would recommend our most popular option, which is the middle option, which is, ShopKeep point of sale, as we talked about earlier. What are your thoughts on that? And you go through that one. Many times they'll go with that because they're like, oh yeah, I don't want this one, I want this one. Then, as a last resort, when they're like, no, I'm not interested in that. I feel like, I don't want to upgrade anything or whatever. You say, okay, well, let's at least do this. I do have a third option. If there's no reason not to do it, it's a month-to-month agreement. It's a free terminal. The pricing is really low. It's a way for me to start a relationship with you. And I'll be honest with you, Mr. Jones, my goal long-term is actually to get you to upgrade to one of these other solutions that I know is going to provide more value. But I respect the fact that you want to just start a relationship and get to know me a little better. I totally respect that. So let's go with option number 3. It's our least expensive. There's a month-to-month agreement. There's really no reason not to do that. And then once we move forward with that one, if you decide to upgrade in the future, then we can certainly do that. Does that sound fair to you? That is the pitch that's going to allow you to close much, much higher percentage of deals, because it's not just yes or no. It's yes or yes or yes. See that? 3 options. That's how you're going to close more deals.